Hey, what's up out there? So in this video, I'm going to be showing you my personal review on the Backstreet Boys Funko Pop figures, and I'm also going to show you my own personal makeovers. So before I actually started collecting these guys, I actually hopped on YouTube and I was looking up reviews, and a lot of people had a lot of positive things to say about these guys, saying that you know, their likenesses looked good and everything like that. But personally, I have a lot of complaints. Now, I've been a big Backstreet Boys fan since the age of 4.5 roughly, so it's been a long time. I'm 26 years old now. And I'm also a very detail-oriented guy. Now, naturally, I had to collect these guys just because these little figurines are very charming and whatever, and this being one of my favorite groups, even till now, and I still love their music, I couldn't help myself but collecting these guys. I also have NSYNC also. But again, I do have a lot to say about these guys. I think a lot of the work on these guys, in my opinion, are kind of lazy, especially given that there is just easy to look at reference. And I think that these figurines could have looked way better. So I actually have the Millennium album here with me. And I will put this on screen, but this will help me get into detail of me explaining things. But I got the Millennium album here. This was my favorite album growing up. But first things first, let's show you what the Funko Pop figures look like. I'll throw that on screen. Now, if you notice, these guys are actually a direct reference to the Millennium album. This is a direct reference to the Millennium album. Just look at the clothes. Like, the clothes is exactly the same. If we look at Kevin, he's wearing the long coat, right? If we look at Brian, like his shirt is halfway buttoned. AJ's got the shirt that's opened up and everything. Like, everybody, Nick with the hoodie. This is a direct reference to the Millennium album. Now, with that being said, it's pretty obvious right off the bat that we can see some differences as far as the way that they look, especially their heads. But first things first, let's start with one of them. I'm going to start with AJ. So once again, I'm going to throw this guy on screen. So let's have a look. So what we can see is he has the sunglasses, he's got the funky facial hair, and then he's kind of got the kind of spiked up, kind of combed back hair, you know, textured hair. So we can see how this very much could be AJ, but there are things that I can change for sure. Now I'm going to put the picture of Millennium up here, and the first thing I want to talk about is AJ's hair. So one of the things that I could say about AJ's hair is one of the most distinct features on AJ that separates him from all the Backstreet Boys members is the fact that he has a large forehead. AJ always had his hairline that was kind of back, and his hairline kind of started further back than the other members of the group, and I think that really added to what could separate him, or what they could have added rather to this Funko Pop toy that would have made him look a lot more like AJ. I feel like his hairline looked, I don't know, kind of too low, but not only that, like, the hairline is just very disorganized, and I don't think that really helps this Funko Pop figure look like AJ. So if you can see here, they kind of gave him some bulk at the back of the hair here. If we take a look at AJ on the album, right there, if you pay close attention, you can't really see any bulk at the back of the hair. So that is something that I would change. I do think the hair, the fact that it looks really textured in the way that it does is pretty nice, but also at the same time, I think a big part of AJ's hairdo was the fact that it sticks up and it sticks out on the sides. Now here, AJ, his hair is quite flat on the sides. And I think that really harms him looking like he is from that Millennium era, especially around the time of that photo shoot. And basically, as we know, these guys are taken from direct reference from that shoot. So if we look in the pamphlet here, for example, and I'll throw up the real image on there for you, the hair here kind of sticks up. On the top and the sides there. And I feel like that really makes up for that kind of special look that he was going with. Like, that was a very particular hairdo that he had. And I think the Funko Pop figure failed to actually capture that hairstyle. Also, while I'm at it, if you look right here, hopefully you can see that, AJ's facial hair doesn't really match up with the Funko Pop figure here. As you can see, if you take a look around, they gave him a frame, which is inaccurate. Right here, if we take a look, he actually has a pointed sideburn. So I can kind of see how that could be like kind of, it could be kind of accurate just based how it looks, like the long sideburn. But instead of it cutting off right here midway through the face on the side there, they actually had it continue all the way to a chin strap, which isn't accurate. But AJ, he actually had a pointed sideburn, so that's not accurate. And also, if we take a look here, he actually has a pointed goatee. So this being pointed right here is actually accurate, but it doesn't continue on here. And I'll show you my own makeover here, and I'll show you a side-by-side of how I fixed it. So as you can see, I fixed the hair, which I think is a very prominent detail that they absolutely could have fixed to make this Funko Pop figure look a lot better. And then, of course, you can see the facial hair, the pointed goatee thing that he had going on. I'll show you another picture of what his facial hair looked like at the time. But I think what I've done here by using Photoshop looks a whole lot better. And I think that is a lot more accurate to what AJ looked like. Now, one of the biggest details that I can say about AJ that they actually didn't give the figure, which strangely enough, his prototype drawing actually included this, and that is earrings. AJ throughout the Backstreet Boys' career was always well known as far as his appearance for having earrings, especially because he would wear these sizable earrings. They were often bigger than average. And throughout all of their career, he's always had these earrings. He has spacers now, but he always had piercings in his ears. And I think that's a very notable thing. I don't know why they got rid of it, because I can throw you the prototype drawings here. He actually had earrings in the prototype drawing. I don't know why they got rid of it. But like here, if you can see, right there, he's got the earring in his ear. It's pretty sizable. He has two of them on the one ear. And then he actually has one right here on the lobe. Or rather here on the cartilage there. But yeah, I'll throw up some images from that time, around that time. He actually had some earrings here. You can see here too. See, he's got those big hoops in his ears, right? So I don't know what's up with this, right? So on a final review, I think the hair could have been better. Actually, there was actually some red streaks in his hair at the time of that photo shoot. So I'll show you again the image. If you look real close to around that time and rather during that that photo shoot, he had red streaks in his hair. So that could have been an extra detail that could have really helped the look on capturing this very, quite frankly, to make it realistically exactly like how they looked during that photo shoot. I do think the hair streaks is a minor detail, but like seeing as the NSYNC Funko Pop figures included streaks, for example, JC Chasez, they gave him these little blonde streaks in his hair, but then they didn't give AJ those streaks in his hair. So I don't know, I feel like they could have done a lot to help AJ look a whole lot more like how he looked. So the main things, his hair, his facial hair, I would have changed it to a pointed sideburn and the little goatee thing here. And the earrings. Now, if there was one thing that I would absolutely change, it would have to be the earrings. I think the fact that they didn't give him earrings is incredibly lazy, because if you're a Backstreet Boys fan, let's be real, you know AJ is the one guy who not only had the big earrings, he kept his earrings throughout their career. All the Backstreet Boys ended up giving up on the whole earrings thing, but AJ actually kept it over the years. And even at this point, he has spacers in his ears now, but like that's still within, you know, the whole having an ear piercing, right? So I feel like the fact that they didn't give him earrings is probably the biggest problem on the AJ figure. I think it's kind of lazy. So, all right, next I'm gonna look at Howie. So, you know, we got Howie here. You know, I think most people would say he looks pretty decent. I think most people will remember Howie from that time having the slicked back ponytail, which he does have. I like the way that it looks. I even like how it's like cartoonishly squared off right there. The fact that he had facial hair, that's also accurate that he had facial hair. He also has something I appreciate on this Funko Pop is, it's kind of hard to see, but they actually gave him a ring right here on his middle finger. Which is accurate to the actual image here. I'll throw it up again, but he actually has a ring on his middle finger there. So they actually gave him that. In one of the main drawings after the prototype drawings, they didn't actually give him a ring. I don't know why, but I'll show you the rendered drawing that they made of the Funko Pop toy, which is actually the image that I photoshopped. I'm pretty sure this is, I think I described it right, just a really rendered out drawing or Photoshop painting, whatever you want to call it. But anyway, the one thing I can say about Howie right off the bat, I think his complexion's a little off. They kind of gave him this brown skin. Now, of course, Howie being a Latino, he does have tan skin in comparison to the other members. I do think he's the slightest bit too dark. And I don't know if my camera's capturing what he actually looks like, but I'll just let the drawing show you kind of what they were going with as far as the skin tone. I personally think he's a little too dark. But I don't think that's the biggest issue on this figure. You know, they really want to capture the fact that he is a Latino, which I think is fair. And, you know, some Latinos do have a skin color like this, but I would argue that Howie Dorough's skin color is actually a little brighter than this. One thing that I can say about Howie that I think isn't accurate is actually the facial hair. I think it's accurate that he has facial hair, but I don't think it's accurate how they portrayed his facial hair. So if we look at this figure, it kind of looks like what they were going for was a scruff. They kind of grayed out the beard so that it doesn't match his hair color. So usually when they gray out a beard, they're insinuating that it's a scruff and that it's not fully grown. This is something that I don't approve of because at this time, what he had was a framed beard, and I'll throw up some images for you. He actually had a framed beard at the time. Even exploring the pamphlet in the Millennium album, we can see that he has a framed beard. It's very thinly framed and trimmed, a very intricate kind of style, and they didn't give him that. So as you can see, hopefully you can see that. You can see how it like kind of frames out the shape of his face. Now if we look at AJ, this figure here, this is a lot more what looks like a frame, right? This kind of looks like a frame. This is arguably a chin strap, right? And half of what Howie actually had was a chin strap. Basically, it was like this chin strap, but then it also connected here, so it kind of was like a chin strap plus the beard part, which I think actually looked really good on him. So for starters, for his beard, I think that they should have given him more of this kind of look, where they made it like a chin strap instead of this look. So if we can compare them, we can see how this looks more like a chin strap, right? Had this been a thinner design, like framing his face, I would have accepted that a little bit more. But even the fact that it like curves under his nose the way that it does isn't accurate, because Howie actually had his beard like trimmed so that it was just over the lip and not underneath his nose, if you get what I mean. I'll throw you another picture, but if we look here, right? Hold on, I'm trying to frame this up. We We can see how it's like trimmed just over the lip, so it doesn't actually go directly under his nose. He kind of framed it so that it goes under his lip like that. Now the next thing that I can say is on the side of his head, we can see that they gave him sideburns, right? Which is not accurate either. He did not have sideburns. In fact, I'll throw an image again. If we take a look at the sides of his head, his hair was actually kind of shaved into the sides. Actually, before he had this look, he actually had his head shaved around his head and had the ponytail bit at the top. But then he grew out the sides, and he actually gelled the hair on his sides back as it grew out. And then finally, around this time, he was actually able to ponytail the entire sides and back of his hair. I know what you're thinking. This dude's got to get a life. But again, I'm a very detail-oriented person. I notice details, so someone might get a kick out of this. But yeah, I don't think it's accurate for him to have the sideburns like he does here. I think it would have been more accurate to actually maybe cut this off here. And then again, the framed beard. They kind of made him have a scruff here. So now the next thing I'm going to say, and you probably can guess what I'm going to say next, is the fact that they didn't give Howie earrings. Now in the early bit of their career, Howie had earrings. I think he had earrings from like the dead beginning of the career towards the, I want to say like 2001, 2002 probably he got rid of them. When they returned in the Never Gone era, which was like 2005-ish. He did not return with any earrings in his ears. But if we can, here, check this out, this image again. I'll put up the actual image. He actually has 2 earrings on 1 ear. So again, for accuracy's sake, I think they should have given him earrings. Now I'll show you the side by side of my photoshopped edited version. So as you can see, I made his complexion a little lighter while still trying to keep the fact that he is Latino. So he kind of does have a tan skin. I gave him a framed beard, earrings, put the ring back on, which was actually in the prototype picture. Yeah, I changed the sideburns too. So, okay, so next I'm going to show you Nick Carter. Now you're probably thinking, what could be wrong with this guy? I think he looks pretty good. In fact, I would probably say he has the second best look, but my problem with him is actually his hair. So if we look dead on, this looks pretty good. You know, he's got the curtains haircut with the center split, and I actually like the fact that it's not dead center, because if we actually look at some of the pictures from that photo shoot, and I'll throw them up here. So just like in the pamphlets of the Millennium album, we could see that his hair during that photo shoot wasn't entirely split in the middle. Usually his hair was split in the middle, but we can see that it wasn't exactly in the middle in that shoot. Yeah, for example, we can see in the pamphlet here, it's not dead center like how he usually had it. So he kind of had his hair flopped a little bit over to the right side, which is actually very accurate to what they did with the figurine here. We can see that it's a little bit more split on this side. So I kind of like that. If we do the off-center here, it's a little bit more to the side. Anyways, so the one problem that I have with this figure, like I said, it was the hair. Now, I'm just going to show you right here. The way that Nick's hair is cut, I feel like the proportions are a little bit off. Around this time, Nick's hair, the proportions of Nick's hair was, if we take a look on the sides of his hair was actually cut up at a little bit of an angle going towards the ear. Although in the past, his hair was cut towards, cut down actually towards the ear, which I think wasn't a very good look for him. And also, he also had his hair without any layers at all, which was a very typical thing in the 90s to just have blunty hair. But to make Nick Carter's hair distinctly how it was around the Millennium album, his hair was very textured with layering and point cutting. and his hair, instead of being cut down, was actually a little bit cut up towards the ear. So if we take a look at my edited version and compare it to the other version, the real version, I made it so that his hair was a little bit, I kind of removed the bulk at the ear, just because I feel like it made it look a little bit more accurate to how his hair looked. So if you take a look at the figure on the side here, right here it's like pretty straight. Like right here it's pretty straight. But I think as it goes towards the ear like this, I think it actually could have been a little bit diagonal. Now the one thing I can say is also they made his hair combed back at the ear, here and here, which isn't accurate. If we take a look here, his hair isn't combed back at the ear, but it's just kind of like the proportions of the figures, right? Like the way that their heads are shaped, it's kind of hard to get the hair exactly how it looks because of the shape of the head, right? The hair here, right? Proportionately, this looks really good. Nick's hair was actually just a little bit below the eyes in this photo shoot here, which I think this is accurate as far as the length. Having it like about eye length, I think that's really accurate. But the thing is, with the proportions of the head of the Funko Pop figures, to have it eye length would also mean that it goes kind of about where the ear is. But I do think they could have, seeing that Nick's hair is a little bit cut angled, especially with the one side here. Like the one side here looks actually a little bit shorter, and you kind of see how it goes up like this, whereas this side kind of just goes straight like this. I think if they continued on like this, and instead of this being kind of combed back, if they just continued making it short, they could have made room so that you can see his ear. Because I think it is a very important detail that that Nick's ear is mostly exposed, right? During the time of this photo shoot, his hair was actually kind of just hovering a little bit above the ear, just a little bit. It's just kind of like maybe touching the ear, I would say. Hold on, let me try to find some of the other pictures in here. But I'll just throw it up on the computer there. But as you can see here, hopefully you can see that, his hair is kind of just touching the ear there. So it's kind of, it would be kind of hard to kind of recreate that. But in the I Want It That Way, sorry, I'm starting my words a little bit. In the I Want It That Way music video, which is just a little bit after his hair grew out just a little bit, his hair is actually touching his ear at that point, which I still think could have been accurate for around that time, which is very much a representation of the Millennium album. It was their first single off of that album, and also it was just a little bit after the shoot of this album. As you can see, his hair looks pretty much the same, proportionate-wise. The way that it's cut is just the slightest bit longer in the music video. Now, the next thing I'm going to talk about as far as Nick Carter is his hair at the back. Like I had mentioned to you before, if we take a turn around here like this, especially on this side, we can see here, this right here I really don't approve of, because this is insinuating that it actually gets cut down like this. See how this is longer than this here? That's not accurate. If we look at the back here, they made his hair long to the point where it actually, right here, it actually goes over the shaved bit of Nick's hair. Now, if you know anything about Nick Carter, he had an undercut. The back of his hair and the sides of his hair was all shaved up to right here. So all the insides of his hair was actually shaved, and then on the top his hair was kept pretty long to about eye length, right? I already mentioned that. So the fact that it actually goes as far as this isn't accurate. His hair would actually probably be, because it was cut up at a little bit of an angle, this would have been a lot better if they just continued on with this and made it angled up like this, which means probably where about this hair is right here, which I do appreciate this detail because they made his hair look textured, which is a key thing for Nick's hair around this time, because this is obviously what looks like a layer, right? Like the layers in his hair. But probably around here is probably where they could have made the hair cut horizontal here like this, and then added layers on top here. I think that would have made for a much more accurate look for Nick Carter, and I will show you my own Photoshop edited version and then compare the two. As you can see, I made the hair a little more texturized. I added some detail, and then I also made the hair cut a little bit higher because they made it cut down towards the ear, which, like I showed you, is not accurate. So I actually would have made his hair a little bit cut up, just a little bit. It's not an exaggerated haircut like, for example, a lot of the like emo hair has, where it's like cut up a lot. It's just cut up a little bit, just a little bit. Yeah, those are some things I think would have made the Nick Carter head look a little bit better. Once again, I think he's probably the second best out of all of them. All right, next, I'm going to show you Kevin Richardson. Now, in my opinion, his looks the best. His skin tone is on point. Kevin Richardson has fair skin, maybe even the fairest skin out of the group. His hair looks really good. Even the little details here and there, the way that his hair is kind of combed forward a little bit and then spiked up at the front. I think that's very accurate. The facial hair is very accurate also. The fact that they gave him the thick sideburns, that's also very accurate. The one minor detail that I would change to this one is the fact that he doesn't have any earrings in his ears. Now, you might be like, what? He has earrings in his ears at the time? And yeah, he did actually. For most of that era of the Millennium album, that Millennium era, the year was 1999, he did not have earrings for most of that year. But the reason why I would add earrings is the fact that he actually did have earrings in the photo shoot of the album. So I don't know if you can see that, maybe you can't, but it's kind of hard to see because of the shine, but he has diamond studs in his ears. If you can see that right there. See that he has a diamond stud in his ear. I'll throw up the actual image, but he actually had 2 diamond studs on both ears at this time. But the actual image, or sorry, the actual figure does not have any earrings. I think that's a detail that I think you can get away with a little bit, just because during that era of the Millennium album, again, he didn't wear earrings for most of that year. Even in the "I Want It That Way" music video, which was the first video that they did just a little bit after they actually did the shoot, he no longer had earrings, so he got rid of them pretty quick after this photo shoot. And even in all of their performances and stuff, like he ditched the whole earrings look. So, but like I said, I think it's a look that you can get away with to not put earrings in his ears, but for accuracy's sake, I would have put earrings in his ears. So here's my Photoshop version. That's the only thing I added onto that figure, and that was the fact that he had no ear piercings. So, but other than that, I think he looks sick. Like he looks awesome. Okay, I'm saving the best for last. I think you know why. For those who have already collected or took a look at these figures, and that is Brian Littrell. Now, first things first, what the heck is this? You know what I'm saying here? Look at that. Okay, so Brian, throughout their career, especially in the 90s, he never had a beard. And this is like one of the most blatantly obvious detail that I find very, very lazy. It's actually the opposite of lazy. I think they took a step over and actually gave him a beard when, in actual fact, he had no beard. There's Brian in the front. He's the biggest in the picture. He's the closest to the camera. As you can see, the dude had no beard. And he didn't have a beard that entire year. The most that he did have around that era was he did have a little bit of a goatee at certain points of that year, but in none of the music videos from that time, I'm talking I Want It That Way, Larger Than Life, Show Me the Meaning of Being Lonely, and all those singles, no beard. He had no beard. For most of that year, he had no beard. On the album, right here, check it out, the dude doesn't have no beard, man. Look at that. So the one thing that I do like though is his hair. I think his textured hair, his floppy hair looks pretty good. The one thing I would have changed a little bit was making his hair a little bit more curly, but at the end of the day, his hair looks pretty good though. If we can see here, like I don't know, like that looks pretty good as far as the way that it is textured and layered and how it flops in the front. Brian always had the bangs look, and during this time in their career, yeah, I would say this is accurate. Like he had a little bit of hair on the sides, whereas before he kind of had it trimmed down, going towards the sides and back. But this time his hair was a little more natural looking, with a little bit of bulk on the back and sides, and I think the hair looks pretty good. So yeah, the beard, like, it's full on textured. It's not a scruff like Howie D where there's no depth to it. They actually full on gave him depth. And then they gave him a beard here, which they actually matched the color on this figure. So it kind of looks like he has a full-on beard, like he has a full beard on the actual figure. If we look at some of the prototype drawings, or the prototype drawing and the finalized render drawing, you can see that they made that bit there look like a scruff. And I think that was the original idea, especially because there's no depth, there's no texture here. This was probably supposed to be a scruff, right? But they actually matched the color on the figure. So it kind of looks like a full-on beard, but because there's no texture, you know, this is obviously supposed to be a scruff, but then they kind of gave him this like goatee beard, which I think is a lot more accurate to how he looks now. So it's almost like they gave him a modern day facial hair to Brian, but Brian having facial hair like this, especially with the mustache bit here, that is very accurate, or a lot more accurate to like nowadays, like how he looks now. Which, you know, Brian, he likes to wear facial hair now. A lot of the times it's just a scruff, although I have seen him kind of rock a beard similar to this, where it's a scruff here and then like an actual beard like that. But again, this is only accurate to how he looks now. But for accuracy's sake, to make him look like how he did at the height of their career, which the Millennium Album was the height of their career, their best-selling album to this point, I wouldn't have given him a beard. He just had no beard. I mean, it's just, it's a detail that they added, which I find impressive. I find impressive that they actually added this detail, because he had no beard. Like, you could have just, like, let him go without a beard. Like, you didn't have to add the detail, but they added the detail. So I don't know what's up with that. Another minor detail I would have added is looking up Funko Pop figures. Sometimes when certain people or characters have a specific detail, details that can help them look like their likenesses, sometimes they add some things here and there. So for me, one notable thing to Brian's look is the fact that he has a very sharp face where the facial, the cheekbones are. I don't know if you can see, but where the cheekbones are, it kind of caves in a little bit on the sides there. I might be able to find other picture reference from around that time, from around those photo shoots. Here, I'll show you this picture here. It's kind of hard to see with the camera and everything, but I'll throw up some pictures. Brian has these very strong cheekbones here, and here it's a little bit caved in a little bit here. So I think a detail that I could have added to help with the likenesses of Brian Littrell, or rather Littrell. I think here in Canada most people would probably pronounce it Littrell, but Brian Littrell's face has just to make things more detailed, to make it look a lot more like him, I would have added some lines here. So I'll throw up my Photoshop version of how I would have made him look. As you can see, I got rid of the frickin' beard. That's probably the biggest thing that I think isn't accurate, that they full-on added a beard when he didn't even have a beard. Even to the years leading up to that, he didn't have a beard that looked anything like this. Even the year after, he didn't. So anywhere close to around that time, he didn't have a beard, so I freaking got rid of his beard, okay? And then I gave him sort of the cheekbone area thing with the little bit sunken in face a little bit on the sides there, which I think could have really helped his look. So that's pretty much it. Tell me what you guys think. At the end of the day, I'm still happy to have these guys. I can't freaking hold them all at once, but yeah, I collected these guys. I think they could have looked better, but at the end of the day, I'm still happy with them. But those are just some ideas. If you're a kind of person who's into like customizing, those are some ideas to try to make them look a little more accurate. Personally, number one, I would probably, if I could match the paint, which might be hard to do, I would freaking paint all this over. But it would be complicated because he actually does have texture on his face. But the number one thing would be Brian. The beard has to go. Second, okay, I would say in first place for the one who should have, for the one who I think needed the biggest change is Brian. Very obvious. Why the heck does he have a beard? Next one is AJ. No earrings. I think that's a big deal. The fact that he has no earrings. Then of course his hair, the highlights in his hair, the facial hair, just on a last note, would have made the spiked sideburns and then a little goatee. Howie would have changed the complexion. His facial hair, also I forgot to mention, I also changed his hairline. His hairline's very straight, and it's actually, he has a pretty high hairline also. And the earring, then Nick is his hair, the proportions of his hair, and then Kevin, the earring. So thanks for watching, let me know what you think. And yeah, I know I need to get a life, but hey, I think someone will get a kick out of this, and I had a lot of fun photoshopping this, so anyways, thanks for watching, peace and love, and tune in next time for the other stuff that we do. Cartoons, singing, skits, me and my brother, my twin brother, we just like to do whatever tickles us on here. So yeah, thanks for watching, peace and love.